Hold it.
Because I feel like after the point where, the first step in being a coach is for us to really like have our own journey, like, our own belief in and finding ourselves in our fitness, right? Like so many of us come in through a challenge and, we find our way or we find our voice or we find our body or ourselves or whatever that is through our challenge and through the experience of joining a challenge group. And some people don't come in that way, but for the most part, that's like our first step is being that product of the product, right? But I feel like the second major...
Dad, careful. Dad, careful.
I'm just going
to... Sorry.
There we go. There we go. I'll just mute everyone and then that won't happen. I feel like the next big thing that we all need to master is, I think, sharing our story, is sharing and understanding what our message is. So sorry, I should make that more clear. Because I'm still feel like this is something even 3.5 years in that I'm trying to wrap my head around myself. But I think the real thing we're trying to accomplish after finding fitness and health in your life is, what is my message and how do I share that? And I think that what makes it so tricky is that it does evolve as you evolve a little bit. It's not always just one thing. But I think at the end of the day, we have sort of a specific message and a beginning message that comes from us, like what brought us here in the first place and who we are. And then when I think about what my message is, like I really am trying to think, like, what am I trying to create here? And I know I've tried to talk about that a little bit more with you guys because it's been a bit of an aha moment for you. It's what am I trying, not just in my challenge groups, but through my challenge groups and through building a team here? What are we trying to make a difference in? What is this vision I'm trying to create to make a difference? Anyway, so once a month, because this is a big struggle for me, this sharing, understanding my message and sharing of the message. And I think that it's really powerful because for those coaches who can start to lock in on it, not only do you really attract your tribe and the people who you really connect with and who are like you, but your message can go far and wide, right? And when you're passionate about it and when you're confident in it, I think that really roots in your business and creates a foundation for something that can go and make ripples long term. That's when I think you hear about people starting to go viral and things. But I think it makes this achievement of helping 3 to 5 people a month, which is what we're trying to do, a much easier thing when we get really clear on our message. So it's one of my biggest struggles, I think, because one, I think that one of my weakest points is being self-reflective and really thinking about the hard things and not to say we want to focus on the negative, but that's what it feels like to me. I feel like I have to look back at my failures and I really don't like to do that. I like to pretend they never happened and stick them under a rug somewhere, right? But it's such a critical part of, I think, our own growth and of helping others. So this is the journey that I'm on. And once a month, I do connect with coaches from other teams that I've grown close with over the years, and we kind of come out with what we're working on, what our strengths are, and we really try to share those things. And I'm very aware of the fact that this is one of my weak points. And I had shared this with another coach, and she said, well, you know what? I was at this seminar, and there was a really great sort of system of questions that helped me a lot with that. And so she shared that with me, and it was really, I found really powerful, and I work really well with systems. Like, tell me what to do and I can follow it and put my own spin on it, and then it helps. So I wanted to share kind of the questions that she had shared with me, because I ended up doing this exercise, and I think I still have to put effort into my posts. I still have to put effort into being open and honest, but it has created a framework for me to work from now. So I'm hoping that you'll notice that more in my posts as well. Okay, so here's how I wanted to share it with you. I did actually create a cute little graphic to go with it, but for some reason I can't save in PicMonkey right now. I'm having some trouble, but I'll pull it up because I can show it in PicMonkey here. Let me just go. So the very first, and I thought, like, I will save it. Once I get to save it, I'll put it in SUCCESSFIT. But if you have a pen and paper, like, jot down these questions, and there's a little bit more that I want to give to you. But the very first question that you want to ask yourself when you're kind of doing this self-reflection. And I think for me, like I took a half an hour to 45 minutes to really sit down and like made sure I had no interruptions. I actually did it Sunday morning at like 5 a.m., had my coffee, and it was just peaceful in my house. And you want to ask yourself, what makes you amazing? Like what makes you you, and really recognize your gifts. And that can be one of the toughest questions, I think, because we're looking at what we're good at and what makes us unique, and trying to remind ourselves of all the positive things. But I really think when we do this, they say you need to make a list of at least 6 to 10 things. Like what really makes you amazing? And then once you've had a chance to kind of digest and put those things down in the list, the next question we want to ask ourselves is, what did you have to overcome to get freaking amazing? And make another list, like make a huge list, the biggest list that you can make, and think about, and it could be anything, right? It could be anything from, like just being very shy to having major depression, like, or tough things that go in through your life, or just small tough things. Like it doesn't have to be major issues. It could be anything from like a speech impediment when you were young. Like what did you have to overcome in your life in order to be freaking amazing? And make that list and try to be really honest with yourself about those things. When you're thinking about like these 6 to 10 gifts that you are now putting out, on paper, what did you have to overcome in order to get to the person you are now that has these gifts? And then from that, think about, okay, what are the defining moments? And try to write at least 3. What are your 3 top defining moments that make you who you are now in your life? So go back. And, for me, it did take some time to kind of clear away the major events in my life that didn't matter, and think about like, what were the ones where I was faced with something, and in the end, what I decided about myself, it really just changed the path and directed me more towards this way. Because these 3 top defining moments that make who you are now, or 4 or 5, however many they are, but like it makes you like look for 3 in your life, because things come in those 3s. These defining moments become your message. They become everything that we're trying to stem from, right? We're trying to help people understand that the lessons that we have learned, right? And in order for us to understand in order for us to share, like, this is what I'm good at, but this is what I had to learn to get here. So it's almost like you're trying to help people learn something faster. And that's also where you're going to start to like shake that sifting pan and start to see the people who really relate to you stick around like gold little nuggets in that as you go. Because the more you get clear on what these top defining moments are that made you who you are, that make you freaking awesome, that help you recognize your gifts and the tough things you had to go through, that the more you're able to relate to those, like share that with others and have them relate to you. And then the 5th point she gave me was, why are you the underdog? People like to root for an underdog, but like what, I don't think we need to have like a big pity party about things, but what happened, like when you're sharing your story, what are some of these, like in these defining moments, like you had some things against you. And those are the pieces that I think you want to share in a lighthearted manner, but you want to be able to say like, yeah, this was a tough thing for me. So that people can root for you to keep going and root for you for your success to continue. And that's something I think it's really important for us to share even daily, because I don't know about you, but like, I'm pretty sure I had like a whole bowl of ice cream earlier today. And not that I think that's a bad thing, but when I'm on a challenge and I'm trying to stay really focused, then that can be something that derails me because of emotional eating. So being able to share the fact that we have these struggles and we have these tough things that we go through, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to be like happy, healthy, balanced people. And we're able to achieve that in mind and body. I think is a huge part of our story. And it's a huge part of how people connect with us. Before I just move on to a few more little things, because she gave me kind of some starting script ideas. Does anyone have questions or comments? I'd love to hear from you guys about anything that maybe that's helped you be self-reflective enough to share your story? Because some of us are a lot more natural at this than others.
Bria.
Yeah.
I try. Hi. I think a lot of my hardest life moments happened when my kids were babies, and I want to talk to new moms. I feel a strong connection. I feel like I can help them because I know how hard it was for me. And so I haven't gone through these exercises yet, and I'm excited to do so. But I like talking as the person that I needed to hear from when I was in that hard place. So I'm no expert at it, but that's what I try to do when I'm trying to get that kind of message across and relate to those people.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing tip. I didn't, like to talk to the people or even talk to a challenger, but yeah, talk to the person, be the person who you wanted to hear from at that time. That's a great tip. Thanks, Jody. I think like for me, when I was going through this, it helped me differentiate a little bit between the stuff I struggled with that shaped me as like a teenager and even in my early 20s to the stuff that I started to struggle with as a mom, which inevitably turned me into finding Beachbody, right? It was like I may have had issues in my teenage and early 20s years, sorry, that sounds weird, that I muddled through and got through. But it was like the rearing of those again, like in the ugly rearing of those starting to appear in my life after having children, and the combination of having children that made me realize I'm not going down that path again, that has shaped me towards moving down this path of making healthy decisions that I'm proud of, that I want to share with other people. So it's a good exercise, or for me, it was a really positive exercise. Does anyone have anything else they want to share that helps them?
I don't know if you can hear me or not,
yeah.
But sorry, I'm having technical difficulties tonight.
No, I'm sorry.
And I want to share with you guys just a little something that I found on the internet real quick. And if I can find my picture of it, because again, I'm having technical difficulties. But one of the things that's kind of helped me this year is it's a thing that I found. It's called "This Is Going to Be My Year," and it's got a whole bunch of blanks. And it's, I'm going to worry less about blank. I'm going to show the world how blank I really am. I'm going to experience blank for the first time. I'm going to work really hard at something. I'm going to get rid of things that don't add value to my life by nixing this and not looking back. I'm going to make this, and this priorities. When I want to give up, I'm going to remind myself that whatever. I'm going to make sure this and this. I'm going to make sure blank and blank know how much I love and appreciate them. I'm going to embrace my imperfections by learning to love blank. I'm going to take steps to reach my goals by blank. I'm going to take care of myself by committing to blank. And my mantra for the year will be blank. And I started to fill this in, but I just found that it really like summed everything up on one page and kind of like made you no BS, no hard thoughts, just write down what comes to your head. If I can get that out there, I found it really just quick and concise, you know, and
like
just
it helps you get to the point.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all on one page, and I'll try and get it out there for you guys.
That's awesome, Sabrina. Thank you. Yeah, it's almost like affirmations of your goals or of like where you're trying to head towards.
Right,
I love
and
that.
it's just like right there in front of you.
Yeah, that would be great if you can are able to put it into SUCCESSFIT or something. That'd be amazing. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
I'll be quiet. Yeah, I think that no. If you have more to say, I didn't mean to cut you off. We get really caught up, I think, in I don't know if it's a female thing, but we don't want to be selfish, and yet I don't think this is about being selfish. It really is about being introspective and looking at ourselves and being honest like as mature women, about what we have to offer and how we can really give this to people. And I think that that is what, you know, these affirmations that Sabrina just said, or these questions that I was given, can be really helpful for. And I think what is so hard to share is often what we really need to share. That's what other women and other people in our lives really need to hear from us. And how we're able to, I think, reach in and connect and build this tribe. Because I think being a coach, like, this can be as lighthearted or as deep as we want this to be. It really kind of comes down to you as the individual and me as the individual and this team that we're creating. And I have every intention of this being something very significant, where we really do make an impact in the lives of the women that come after us. So I think that it's really important that we are asking ourselves, like, okay, what is so hard for me to share that I really don't want to share? And starting to get more and more comfortable with sharing that. You don't have to come right out of it, but like learning. One of the greatest tips I heard at a summit a couple of years ago was to crumb your story. If you find it seems so heavy or so hard to share, and I remember Trish saying this on the call last week when we were doing some takeaways from the retreat. She's, you know, there's fear, and I have the same fear of like putting things out there that also offend other people that you care about or bother other people that you care about. So sometimes it's just about like crumbing that story along. Anyway, my friend Amy, this coach, she gave me a few sort of starters to killer scripts. Like when it comes to posting, the things that really help her get it out, but also grab the attention of the people around, is something like, I never thought I would. Like that, you want that to be like your starting line. I never thought I would, or I never thought I would have been on the brink of, you know, and making sure that you are trying to grab that attention. I have a very serious question for you. The idea being that you grab people with a headline in a way, like grab with that initial line. And then in there, you share a little bit of your story and you kind of close it out with your message. Right? Like we're trying to grab the attention of people, connect with them with the vulnerability of our story, and then make sure we're putting our positive message on there in the end. So I found that to be a really helpful like guideline. Like when I'm talking and wanting to be concise, that I'm putting something out there that's helpful to other people. And what's helpful is grabbing their attention, sharing, you know, the hard stuff, but that then connects to their heart and evokes emotion in them, but giving them like the hope and the positive message or the positive affirmation that comes with that. And I think we need to look at this in several areas of our life. One, you know, in your health and fitness, and two, you know, in your decision to be like a coach or to take on something like this as more of a career path and less of, rather, I guess, just not taking this on. I'm seeing a few comments in here. Let's see. Bobby says, find meditation has been helping a lot lately. I've had a lot of people that talk about great meditation. I know Headspace is something I've really enjoyed. It's just a little app for like 10-minute meditations. Breezy says, I've had a lady who was a friend tell me I was fat shaming and bragging when I post my weight loss, and said I should be ashamed, and I'm throwing it in other people's faces who can't lose weight. Yeah, I don't know if I'm sure other people have had stories like that. I am so sorry to hear that that's how that was taken. I think Jody I remember Jody, you said that you had a friend that even like blocked you. I'm sure I've had it as well. I don't always see it, but I think we always have to remind ourselves like, oh, I'm like, that's not you. That's her issue that she needs to come to terms with. And I think if you're still there and still positive and let them know that that's not your intention, that eventually we hope that they love themselves enough to come around. I know that doesn't make it easier, but I'm really sorry you had to go through that. Okay. Does anyone have any questions then, or anything else they want to share in terms of sharing their story and how that works for them?
Bria, I just want to say that what I found helpful to find like what my message is doing the personal development that for the things that I struggle with, and getting to the root of my gratitude of where I am now. Because I find when I get to the root of my gratitude now, all of those things that I'm grateful for are the opposite of the things that I struggled with. So it kind of, all those things bubble to the top, and it becomes really clear in my mind of like how things are different now. And that kind of shapes my story of like, here's how I am now versus what I used to be and what I used to have to deal with. So I find like doing the personal development and like focusing on the gratitude every single day of like the little things, that's what's been working for me.
I love that. And I think you're right. I think it's also a huge part of why personal development is something that we want to take in every single day, because sometimes you're in a funk and it's really great, or sometimes it actually inspires you to do any self-reflection or to be able to share something that you've learned. That's great. What are you reading right now for your personal development?
Well, actually, I'm listening to the 10X rule because I was 7 hours in the car today, and the color code still.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. Oh, Sarah, you said, I feel like I hear crickets whenever I've shared my deeper story. Has anyone else had to experience that? Wants to comment?
I've had too many people cheering me on, or like I've said the story wrong, because instead of them feeling empowered, they're like, Jody, you're so great. And I'm like, no, don't say that. I don't want you to say that. I'm not here fishing for compliments. I'm trying to build you up. So that's backfired a little bit. That's, I think, just maybe telling the story a little differently, I guess.
I think I've had that same thing happen where I've said something and it's like they think I'm feeling sorry for or I think I'm sad. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like I was trying to like power you through, and it's just a normal part, I think, of what we go through. But I saw Rachel on. Are you still on here? Because I feel like you're really good. Where are you, Rachel? Did you leave or are you here?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Do you have any tips on that? Because I feel like I look to you, and you did a post last night. You guys should all go look at it. It was amazing. It was short and sweet and to the point about like just growth. So
Was it the post with my roller derby pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like what you said earlier, kind of breadcrumbing things. And even without sharing a lot of information about kind of like how you got from there to here, but that you got from there to here is kind of what people look to, because I always have a lot of people that comment and say, I'm now where you were before, or, like after a couple of months, I'm where you are before. So this gives me hope that I can be where you are now in my after. This gives me inspiration. And even without kind of the before and after pictures, for me, a lot of it has been about sharing, I think mostly and not just like the growth, but that I'm almost really a different person than I was before, because, while I still have similar interests and everything, for me, like I look back at a lot of those pictures and I think back at that person and I'm like, I don't even know who that is anymore sometimes. So I think really sharing with people how that change has affected you in a way that kind of makes you feel like you've transformed, or you've had some sort of metamorphosis really into becoming a new person. Because for me, after I finished my first or second round, I really literally felt like a new person. Like I was like born again. I was like, this is amazing. I'm a new me. And I know that we can get a lot of that hokey, like new year, new you kind of stuff. And people are like, I don't want to change, right? I still want to be me. But I think that, I think what Sabrina said earlier about being able to drop those things that are holding you back. But just saying, like, I had a lot of things that held me back, and, I was able to let go through this, right? And so tying them all together into, coaching or into getting into fitness, I think is really important. Like the post I did last night, it didn't say before and after. I didn't really talk about a transformation. I was just like, this is who I used to be, and this is who I am now. And like, they're two different people, and I feel amazing. I'm glad to have let that person go.
That's great. I think those are really great tips. You're right. Like, we don't always have to give as much of our story sometimes. And I think, Sarah, I also think like our network needs to start to digest what we're doing. Sometimes that's all it is. And sometimes it feels like we've exposed ourselves to the whole world when really most of them didn't even see it that day. So try not to take that one to heart too much, even though it feels like you're bearing it. But The other tip I would say on the crumbing, because that's really, I'm still stuck in the crumbing pieces. But what does work for me is when I can kind of hone in on like a moment or a feeling that I used to have. And like, you know, like Rachel said, put out there the fact that I don't have that feeling anymore. Like just a small thing. It's not giving my whole life story away where I'm not even ready to like look at it myself sometimes, but like a small moment in time where I remember like lying in bed at night and promising myself the next day I would make these changes and never making those changes. And so to finally be away from that feeling, or like, you know, getting dressed in the morning, the feelings that like, these are my story, but the feelings that would come with that. And then all of a sudden not having that, like just a small little nook that can kind of capture people is what I mean when I say crumbing. Does anyone else have any other questions? And does that make sense, Sarah?
I just have something that I shared with Erica today, but I wanted to share it with everybody as well. When I was talking to my cousin who's been helping me with my website, and she's trying to help me with some of my posts as well, she said that in the video posts, sometimes she was talking about my fitness videos, I think, but she said maybe just before you do your fitness video, actually speak to the camera like you're speaking to a friend or whoever you're trying to capture, whoever your audience is. Say like, hey, this is why I do this move, or hey, you know what? And maybe it's not even a fitness move. Maybe it's like doing squats in the kitchen between flipping pancakes or whatever. And she was just giving me real tips. And then she said with a written post, she said to not only, you know, think of who your audience is in terms of, yeah, maybe it's the struggling mom or whatever, but also like imagine you're just sitting there with a cup of tea with like your friend, and like, how are you feeling in that moment? That like Carl had a great wake up call where he was talking about us reaching out to our audience. Like, how are you feeling? Like how we ask our customers that. But when we're doing our own post, to really just sit, like last night I had a total fall off the wagon evening and I felt like crap at the end of the night. And then this morning it was like, I didn't go into all the details, but I was like, okay, I made some mistakes yesterday. And I mean, I guess the crumb was my haircut and whatever else, but it was like, yeah, I made some mistakes and I, you know, fell into a piece and whatever else. But, you know, I think it's just pretending that you're talking to your, like a friend or someone that you would share something with. And then when you read it back, is that like how you would actually say it? Because I think sometimes there is a difference between the written and the verbal. But if we say it out loud and it becomes more natural to us, then it will become that way in the post. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like it'll sound like a more natural post, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think that makes perfect sense. And I think that's what the wonderful thing about social media is that some of us are stronger in the written word and some are better in video and some are great with imagery. And I think that although it's great to have a balance of everything, typically we have one that we are naturally gravitated for and we're able to communicate best through. So find that thing, like try them all and then take a look at your posts and in a way that for you to analyze, like, where are you getting the most response from? Is it in the image and a quick word, or is it in a deeper, longer story where you're talking? Like, try to see how you're best communicating by seeing the interaction and engagement on your post. I just know that for some reason I come across mostly talking about myself in video. So that seems to be a better option for me. And then I don't get so stuck in my head in the written word, but I know there are plenty of people who are so good at writing posts and in a way that people want to just sit and probably curl up with their tea and read it, just like Monica was saying. But that's a good point. And you said that too, Monica, last week. It's really important that when we're posting, we're not just posting about what we're doing, we're posting about why we're doing it. That's our message in there. Yeah. And that's where I think we're trying to discover in this self-reflection. Awesome, guys. Does anyone else have anything they want to share on that topic? Okay. Thank you so much for hopping on. I feel like, I think Jody said Bonnie Engle's nugget, focus on why more than what. And that's it's how we connect with others, right? Like people don't typically buy, like they want to buy the reason. And I know for me, before I found something that worked for me, I probably would have spent a lot of money on anything that made me feel like it was going to work. And we're the proof for that, right? That's the point, is we're sharing the proof of that for others. Thank you for hopping on. Make sure if you have any issues or you're struggling in any of the Coach Only Challenge groups that you're reaching out and that you're getting, don't forget the next Super Saturday or Super Sunday is April 8th and 9th, I guess, depending on which one. So find one in your area and go to it. Show up and get excited about being there. Bring people with you if you can. But thank you so much for being on tonight. And I'm going to totally make this super uncomfortable for Doug, but I saw Doug hop on. He's like a brand new coach, and I want to give him a big shout out because he's come on tonight with a lot of ladies. So thanks so much, Doug. Welcome. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end recording, and once I get that saved, I'll pop it into SuccessFit, and have a great, great week, and go kill the cup.